Alright boys, another one. Thanks for tuning back in, man. Stick to the plan and build. Stick to your plan and rebuild. Stick to your plan and build. However you want to say it, stick to your plan and build. Write out a plan for yourself, mentally or on paper. Know what it is you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, and stick to that. You know? And back to my previous videos where I said, you can't really go through with a plan if you're spunked out and you're drained out. If you don't understand yet how important your semen is to your body, to your mind, to your energy field, then you need to understand very quickly how essential your sperm is to your body. You need to learn to have some sexual discipline about yourself, how to retain that semen. Now it's going to feel stressful if you've done this. That's where training comes in. That's where breathing comes in, because that energy is going to start circulating around the body, especially if you're used to doing too much sexually. You're always running on reserves, right? So when you start to hold that in for a week, 2, 3 weeks, for a month, it's going to feel like you get a lot of urges. Now, urges is a thing you're never, ever gonna not feel. It's never gonna disappear. It doesn't work like that. You just move that energy around your body, that's all. You transmute that energy into training, into starting a business for yourself, into making some money, into producing art, whether it's video art, musical art, painting, whatever it is you do, transmute your energy well, brothers. And I'm talking from experience. Things will start to happen for you. Now, we spoke about the importance of stacking your cash and how cash is king, and how if you ain't got any money in this world, you are fucked. You need to have some dough in your pocket. If you live in a place where you got problems, especially in the UK, you know, the landlord don't care nothing about most. If you're coming from a council estate or council housing, the landlord don't care. The only thing that's going to stop you, or save you, should I say, is yourself. Having a plan, a structured plan, and then stacking some money for yourself. And then you can break yourself out of that situation. You can't break yourself out of poverty or a poverty-stricken lifestyle if you ain't got no cash. You need to learn to stack your bread up. Stacking your bread is going to be the only thing that gets you out of situations. Money gives you options, and options gives you freedom to a certain extent. You got to structure a plan for yourselves. Like I said, if you want to move out of your city and move out of your country, that's perfectly good. Good on you. But you need to structure a plan. Don't just leave because your emotions tell you to. That's not how you operate as a man. Always have a plan in your pocket. And if that plan don't work, then maybe you have a contingency plan. But you throw your energy into the plan that you start out for yourself. You know? Always stick to your plan. If your plan is for a year from now, 2 years from now, where you want to be 3 years from now, how are you going to get there? By sticking to your plan, right? You got to have a plan in life, brothers. You got to. A man with no plan is failing to fail. Planning to fail. A man with no plan is planning to fail, man. Wake up in the morning, develop a structure about yourself, some discipline, a routine, a regimen. You know, our life's gonna get tough. It's gonna get stressful. It's gonna get mentally difficult, challenging, adversities, losses, this, that, you know, but you gotta just do your best to ignore how you feel in that moment and put one foot in front of the other. You know, trying to separate yourself from your feelings. You can't be as emotional in this world. You ain't gonna survive, you ain't gonna go very far. Separate yourself from how you feel. You know, as a man, life can get shit. It can. But what's going to be even more shit is if you have no plan and no bread to make any bread. You need to have some bread in your pocket and a plan to accumulate some bread. Right? Like I said, this channel started a couple years ago. And it was a semen retention channel. But it wasn't me talking about the benefits of semen retention. It was just for me, from my personal experience. I will say over and over again, I think every man should go at least 3 to 6 to 8 months out of every year and try his best not to do anything sexual. Do something with your life and your time. Because if you can't put your dick down, you're going to be in the same position throughout life over and over and over again. And you're going to feel like you ain't making no progress. I'll give you an example, right? There was a time where I was trying to pass a test to get some money where I can, let's just say it was in construction, right? And this construction job would have made it possible for me to make more money or double what I was making in the previous spot, right? Now, the test, it wasn't that hard because my brain was sharp. So I said, you know what, for the next 2 months, I'm gonna smash out this test. I'm gonna study for this test. Boom, bam, boom. There ain't gonna be no activity of sexual anything. I need my energy. As soon as I took that test, I passed that test, you know. But I believe that was only possible for me because I was sexually disciplined that whole time. Because I said I wanted something, I understood, okay, I'm here, this test, this card will take me here. That's where I want to be, over there. So I needed to put my dick down long enough to accomplish that goal. If you want to accomplish something in life, brothers, it's not hard. No one's holding you back but yourselves. This is why I said to you, ain't in no competition with any man, especially no female. You're in competition with yourself. When your dick starts talking to you and you want to chase this girl, you want to go to that girl, you want to do this and do that, you got to be understanding in the sense of, okay, I see what's going on. You know, I'm starting to think sexual things, but is it gonna be conducive to what you want in life now? There ain't no problem with being around females. I've said to you, if you're a young man, you have no business committing to a female. Not right now, and maybe not ever. You don't commit and tie yourself into her because you're gonna be you ain't gonna be the beneficiary of that commitment. She is. You know, and when it's all said and done and you're drained of your resources, you got to start from zero. So it's best to learn when you're young as a man to not put yourself in situations where you're cutting holes in your pockets. Never live with a female, because if you're moving with a female, whether it's her yard or your yard, sex is going to happen. And one thing a female's always going to do is always going to find an easier path in life. If you live with the female, she's going to get pregnant. She's going to tell you to come inside her when the sex is going on. And then when you're pregnant, you got to make a decision. Alright, so it's best that you put yourself in certain situations. If you're going to do something sexually, learn to pull out strong or strap it up, or just leave it alone completely. Alright, brothers, appreciate you tuning into another video. Stay in shape, stack your paper, I'm gone. See you soon.